Welcome in. How's it? We're back. It's time for the second division preview episode of the You Like That Feels Great Baby podcast. I'm your host, Eric Stenholm, along with my co-host, Joey Moore. We're going to get into the AFC and NFC East this week, two slightly more exciting divisions than the South that we previewed last week. I think this is really going to be probably the most marquee of the pods for the general public. For those who aren't Niner or Viking fans, these are two premier divisions. Elite quarterbacks, elite coaching. Excited to get into that, Joey. But first, we got to start with something that we both saw last week. We were texting nonstop about this. For the Niners, a team with Super Bowl aspirations, there's not going to be a ton that happens in the preseason that's going to make the news, but this is something that will. Trey Lance played the entire first half of their first preseason game at the Raiders, and it wasn't pretty, was it?
We got games. Let's start with that. We got games. Football's back. We're going to start positive. There's something to do this weekend. Games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was great. But yeah, my buddy Trey Lance struggled in Vegas like most people do. Vegas afternoon in the heat. Just usually most people it's behind the casino, behind the poker slots. He was terrible. His stat line actually wasn't that bad. I believe he was 10 of 15 for like 112 and a touchdown. But
one of those.
Did you watch the games? If you watch the game, the touchdown should have been a pick, at least. I mean, that guy might still be running if he would have caught the ball. And just preseason is not about numbers. It's about looking good, feeling good, and everything he does in this offense looks difficult in year 3. Which is a problem. He was drafted as a project, but this project is taking way too long. And
it's like a construction project where the contractor's
it's like the construction still going on Mission Boulevard in Hayward. That
was supposed to be finished 7 years ago.
I was in high school.
Yeah.
It's like I've heard this guy is great kid, like everything, but just like I was really thinking about it. I was so discouraged what I saw Sunday. I no longer put the blame on him. I just what honestly did you guys see in the pre-draft process? He must have absolutely crushed the interviews, because I know he had 1 year where he accounted for 42 total touchdowns, throwing and running, and no picks. Like that was his 1 year he's played. The COVID year canceled his whole season. They scheduled that one kind of bogus game literally just for him to showcase. And I think he threw a pick, one, but I mean, the competition is below minor league football in what he was playing. And just, he was advertised as this dual threat quarterback. And I don't know who it was, random person on YouTube commented we were bamboozled, thought this guy was like a dual threat QB. Right now he's a zero threat QB because you watch him and Justin Fields, this was not a pro Justin Fields podcast. We both red flagged him from the spot, but he's an elite runner at the quarterback position. We thought if Trey needs to work on his passing, he'd be a runner. He's a horrible runner. He's not that athletic at all. If you watch the games, Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold are way more athletic than Trey Lance. He looks the prototype. He's 6'4", 220, I think. When he's confident, he's got a cannon for an arm, but you just don't see it. When he looks like he still just has absolutely no idea what he's looking at. When he snaps the ball.
And it started for me with the very first snap of the game. He takes the snap, and his drop back couldn't have been more than one step. It was probably scheduled to be either a 3 or 5 step drop. He took one step. His first read wasn't open, and he gets absolutely obliterated. And I was like, well, if that's his first preseason snap after 3 years of being in this system, not great.
I know he had a major injury last year. He was playing with, that's a whole other topic, but better for a team that's riddled with injuries every year, the offensive line better not get hurt, because their backup offensive line got whooped Sunday. And so giving him the benefit about there. He just hasn't played, but like the thing that bothers me the most is like there are still so many Trey Lance truthers like, oh, he needs an opportunity. I'm like, what? Why does he deserve an opportunity?
Mhm.
Like, just honestly, like they were ready for no reason at all
other than his draft status. Yep.
Like they said Jimmy, like they made Jimmy work out on the sideline like MIA, like at training camp last year, and said, no, we're giving him the keys to the car. And like everyone knew it. Like they were just like, why? Like, why is he? This is the first year he's ever had to like earn the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first year, I think it was very, most people, in the building probably knew like it's going to be Jimmy in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
2021, the year was drafted. And then 2022 last year was like, okay, we're going to give it to Trey. He didn't have to earn it. He didn't have to beat anybody out. And this year was like, okay, Trey, like it's going to be Brock Purdy. Like you're more than like Kyle, I'm sure would love nothing more than the guy that they traded everything for to unseat Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, I know Purdy played very well, but like I mean, Trey, show something. I just it's tough. They were talking about his value, and like I'm like, is his value right now even a 6th round pick? I mean, if that.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I his tape is horrible.
We had a discussion during that game where, and then we put it on Twitter just to kind of get a poll of the fans. What would you do if you're a Niner fan right now if you were in charge of the team in terms of Trey? Would you give him the starting job? Would you keep him as the third QB? Would you trade him? Or would you just cut him outright? And cut him outright won the poll that we put on Twitter, and that was what you said. I mean, pretty dark times considering he was the number 3 overall pick 2 years ago. And it's like, Mr. Irrelevant not only beat him out, Mr. Irrelevant got Tommy John surgery and is just now coming back, and it's not even remotely close to a competition.
I was thinking about it too again, like what did they see, right? Like, and then what did I mean, everyone passed on Purdy 6 or 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
But like what did people not see in him? Like, and I just think even look at the best quarterback the whole game was the rate. Jimmy better stay healthy this year. Aiden O'Connell looked like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like, but you look at him, I think 4-year starter at Purdue, like he's not like Caleb Williams. He's not coming out like Trevor Lawrence, but he's a solid guy who knows how to execute the quarterback position. And Trey, like he just has probably been the best athlete on every field he's ever been on against low-level college competition.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to the NFL, and it's like guys he used to run by guys, throw over guys, and now he's average at best in terms of athletic ability, and it's killing him.
Yeah, it's been a sad watch for him. I mean, even as a Vikings fan, I'm not necessarily rooting for Trey Lance, but I'm rooting for, the Niners to find their guy. And unbelievable that not only was it not Lance in year 1 and Jimmy came in, not only was it not Lance in year 2 and Jimmy came in and then Purdy came in, it's year 3. His career is at a crossroads, and he turned in one of his worst performances as a professional.
You know what's crazy that really gets me is like how just some people like think people deserve so many chances and some people don't. Like, I don't know, like people, the media, do they meet Trey? Is he a nice guy? Like people are like still like, oh, he deserves an opportunity. Like, he deserves to compete. I'm like, he has, like, there is practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't see it, but like there is practice. Like he's not doing something there. Mm-hmm. You look at that draft. Look at Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, I mean, he brought it on himself. Some of the stupid shit he said last year, like with the locker room and stuff. But he's looked competent, like, and people were ready to just throw him to the street, run him over by a bus, and put the bus in reverse and run him over again.
And he's like, I'm not going to have a career as a backup in the NFL if I don't get my act together now.
And it's like, and the reason why to cut Trey, like Trey is not a good backup because like he doesn't do backup shit well. Like you want a backup quarterback, like you want, like there's a reason why Blaine Gabbert's going to play like 15 years in the league. Number one, he's smart. He goes and backs up Tom Brady, and he goes and backs up Mahomes and likes to carry their clipboard around. It's a smart gig. But like, Colt McCoy, Brian Hoyer, Teddy Bridgewater, your guy keeps getting, Jacoby Brissett. These guys are solid. Like they know the offense. Trey, it's like you can't be the backup and like something happens to Purdy's arm or something, and like you just like You don't know the plays. Or I'm not going to say he doesn't know the plays, but I'm just saying you still like we were saying before the podcast, Fox was talking about it. They show this basic cover 2 look, and he throws like the one. His first read is like the one thing like can't do it against cover 2. Like they were saying, this is like high school level football, college like information, like pre-snap read. He's not doing it. And conversely, that's what Purdy did so well because why? He played
4 years at Iowa State. Yeah, played a ton of games, got a lot of reps, and kind of figured out what he needed to do.
Like you could say that about Anthony Richardson, kind of like Trey Lance, but he played at Florida.
Yeah. A little different than North Dakota State. Little different.
And that's my TED Talk.
So, yeah, we had to start.
He's not the only thing that went bad. I mean, they got whooped by the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, mostly.
Offensive and defensive line backups, we better not get hurt because Javon Kinlaw, congratulations, he took the field, but he was getting tossed out of the club. They were getting gashed every running play the Raiders did.
I mean, it's hard to not overreact to preseason, even though every year we're like, it doesn't matter. But, I mean, the early look at Trey Lance and the early look at some of the guys.
At least for some of these people, it's like, you're not playing. None of you are playing. I remember last year, the preseason was the one game that the Niners did play like the starters was the third one against the Texans. And I think we didn't even score. I think we got shut out and lost like, I think like 20-0 or something. And I'm like, oh my God.
And you went 13-4.
4-13 incoming.
You went 13-4, and Houston went, I believe, 3-14 and got the second pick. So, yeah, preseason doesn't matter that much, but when you see something that's glaring, you got to call it out. We had to go over Trey Lance there before we get into our division previews. Let's pivot over to the AFC East. Last week we did the 2 South divisions. This week we're doing the AFC East and NFC East. We'll start in the AFC, and all discussions in the AFC East have to start with the Buffalo Bills for the foreseeable future. They're coming off of back-to-back wins in that division. They're now set at the over-under of 10.5 wins, plus 115 to win the division. So they remain the favorite. They're third in the AFC in their win total. I have them going 12-5. I looked at their schedule. I think the drop-off is not coming this year. I think it may come after this year when the Allen money starts to get absolutely ridiculous and lots of guys got to drop off the team. But for me, this may be the number 1 win now team in the NFL. I think this is Buffalo's last year as a powerhouse. I think a lot of folks want to write them off as, hey, they had their chance. It's time for the Jets and Dolphins to get a shot in this division. I think this is the last hurrah for Buffalo. Let's go over what happened in 2022 for the Bills. They were the number 2 offense in the NFL and the number 5 defense, one of only 3 teams to be top 5 in both categories. They've got James Cook. He's going to be their number 1 running back this year. The new backup is going to be Damian Harris. Obviously, Diggs and Davis return. Trent Sherfield is going to be their 3rd string wide receiver. The big addition in terms of, on the offensive side, Dalton Kincaid is now going to be the starting tight end, moving Dawson Knox to 2nd string. A lot of people think he's going to be one of the best tight ends in the league. I saw Chris Collinsworth today actually said he thinks Dalton Kincaid could win Offensive Rookie of the Year, become the first tight end to do that in a long time. Haven't seen, hype like that for a tight end since Kyle Pitts. So I hope this one works out because Pitts certainly didn't.
Kyle Pitts has ruined every fantasy team I've had since he's come in the league. I think I've drafted him every year, and
it just doesn't seem to click for him. And I think Kincaid is in that same vein where it's like, hey, this guy has the tools to be one of the best in the NFL on day one. Pitts clearly, I think.
Kyle Pitts was the 4th overall pick.
4th. I mean,
everyone wants to crap on Trey.
Yeah. That's a bad pick. I mean, it's like the Saquon Barkley pick where it's like.
It's not as bad because they didn't also give another 2 first-rounders. I'm not going to go into that whole ordeal, but.
Anytime
you look back at that draft, that's a damn good first round.
Yeah.
Right after that came Micah Parsons, Pat Surtain.
But alas, yeah, you got Kyle Pitts and Trey Lance as the 3 and 4 picks. I mean, it's rough.
This league is lucky the Niners did not pair Micah Parsons with Nick Bosa.
That's my God. I think you may actually have a certain trophy residing in Santa Clara.
That's why we play the games.
Yeah, that's why they play the games. Bronco defense, Von Miller's coming back off of his surgery. The secondary is going to decide the season, in my opinion. They're due for a little bit of regression in the secondary, where they were 5th in scoring defense last year, but 15th in passing defense. So A little bit lucky last year in that regard. I think a little bit of regression is coming on defense, but I think the offense is so damn good, and Josh Allen is so damn good and fully healthy. I'm picking Buffalo for big things this year. We'll discuss it as we get closer to the season where I think they go in the playoffs, but I got them 12-5. I got them winning the division. Joey, what about you?
I got them 11-6 in winning the division.
Okay.
Based on the records I'm going to predict, that's on a tiebreaker. Don't ask me what the tiebreaker is, but like this, I really wanted to pick like an even worse, prediction, I guess you'd say, for Buffalo.
Earlier in the offseason, you said you were looking to fade Buffalo.
I am, but I'm looking at their schedule. Like, I mean, they're still so talented. I just think they're starting to be smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Something is going on with Sean McDermott calling the defensive plays after they kind of had I would say, not too peachy parting ways with Leslie Frazier, who they asked him to give up the play calling duties. He said no, and they said, okay, goodbye. Josh Allen, like Stephon Diggs, like huh?
Yeah, Frazier said he's taking a 1-year sabbatical. I think that was more of a screw you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And like you would know about Stephon Diggs, like he's upset, like, and he was upset. I just want, like, we never really heard why. Like, it cannot possibly be you're not like more of the part of the offense. You're targeted, like, I think almost more than anybody in the league.
Yeah, 120 plus.
And like, so something's up with him. Something's up with him and either coaches. They have no running game still.
They badly need James Cook to have a breakout year. I will give you that. Their running game last year was a disaster.
Their running game is Josh Allen, and I mean, well, it might get him hurt. I know he's built like a tank, but even he said, I think in the offseason, he's got to run less and extend his career. But I still think they finished. I'm not going to go super hot takey. I think they finished 11-6. Same record as the Jets to just say that I think the Jets go 11-6.
Okay.
Because I think their defense is very good. And I'm, maybe I'm drinking the Rodgers Kool-Aid like everyone is right now. I saw Hard Knocks. He looks like he's enjoying life. He looks like he's, I don't know what that ayahuasca is doing to him, but he looks pretty peaceful right now. And I mean, I'll be honest, he's going to play better than Zach Wilson played last year. So I mean, and they still almost made the
breaking
playoffs.
News. Yeah.
I really like. I mean, they just added Dalvin Cook, your boy. And
yeah, let's segue over to the
Hall's kind of come back. Garrett Wilson's good. I mean, I think Alan Lazard is better than, like, if he's your 3, he's a solid 3. Like, I love Bobby Saleh.
Yeah, let's go over to the Jets just to get.
I have them both finishing 11-6. I have them splitting the divisional games, so somehow I have Buffalo get the tiebreaker because
conference record.
Yeah, I guess.
So but you're saying splitting hairs between the Bills and the Jets. So I said we had to start with Buffalo as everything runs through them in the division. Obviously, the Jets have garnered the most headlines in the offseason. We'll go with them next. They're over-under set at 9.5 at most sports books.
You know what? Because the big thing, their difference in the schedule is Buffalo plays Jacksonville and the Jets play the Texans.
Buffalo plays Cincinnati, and I think the Jets.
I think
they both face the North.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I mean
because the Jets get the Browns and the Texans, and Buffalo gets Cincinnati and Jacksonville.
That could be all the difference right there. I mean, you're
saying
what?
I might have flipped. You know what? Switch that. The tiebreaker goes to the Jets.
Okay.
Jets. I just convinced myself.
So the Jets are plus 280 to win.
Because I thought the edge went to Buffalo in the sense that they get Tampa. And I think Tampa's going to suck balls, and the Jets get Atlanta, who I think they're going to suck too. But I think they'll be better than. Yeah.
Okay, so Joey's picking
because I'm going to be consistent with what I said earlier. Because I'm fading Buffalo hard.
Yeah, you said they were due for some
Madden
regression
cover. How about that? So
see your point. Your point that you're making is you think that the Jets are the primary competition to Buffalo in the division. You have them winning the division at plus 280. So that's definitely a bet we're going to look at later in the pod. I project the Jets at 9-8 and missing the playoffs. Last year, they were 29th in offense, 4th in defense. Obviously, the biggest addition by subtraction of all time is just bumping Zach Wilson to second string. Even if they added anybody else, Derek Carr was rumored. I mean, it was going to be a huge
Derek Carr looked good.
But man, Aaron Rodgers coming in, a lot of weapons on that offense with Garrett Wilson, Lazard, Hardman, Cobb, Corey Davis, and now Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall just got activated off the pup. I mean, the ceiling for this team, I think, is going to be determined by the offensive line. There's some rumors
that they're terrible.
There's some rumors
Becton just quit. Like, not actually, like, who was that Colts player that just played the first half and then quit?
Oh my gosh, who was that? Oh, it was a corner. I can't remember who it was. He just left the stadium at halftime. He just gave up. Yeah, that was Mekhi Becton. I mean, tough. So that's to me the reason that I have them missing the playoffs. And by the way, I actually have them at 8-9, not 9-8. I said 9-8.
You could convince me the other way because offensive lines can wreck your season if they're bad.
So I'm worried about the line. They got Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton, who Dwayne Brown's 100 years old. Becton, not looking great. There's rumors that they're going to try to trade for David Bakhtiari. I don't know why Green Bay would give him up unless they're playing 3D chess and they're like, if we protect Rodgers better, he'll play this number of games, which means we get a first-round pick. I don't know about that kind of conspiracy theory, but if Bakhtiari goes to the Jets, obviously that's a huge plus.
The only way I can see that happens is, David Bakhtiari's probably been a good soldier for the Packers. Mm-hmm. And if he just goes to them and says, guys, like, we're going to suck. Can I get moved? I don't know what, like, would the Jets give a 1? Like, didn't they just give them the 1 for Rodgers?
Oh, there's no way you would. I would think Bakhtiari would be worth less than that given his age and salary. I think you could probably get him for a 2 or 3. But, Green Bay could probably wait a couple games into the season, you would think. I'm
just footballing here, but shit, if he's available, does he play right tackle? Put him over here. I'd give another 1. We just give those for free.
It seems like Green Bay's probably going to hold on to him, but I did see that rumor the other day, and it does seem like the perfect fit given Rodgers and Hackett there. Let's talk about the defense, though, real quick. I still think it's an elite stop unit. It was 4th last year in both yards and scoring, so there's not really any regression candidates there. They were 19th in the league in picks, so say they bump that up to like 12th or 10th, that could get them to the number 1 defense in the league. So they were 4th last year while ranking 19th in interceptions, 21st in turnovers. I mean, that's just bad luck given how well they played. No really new names other than the rookie Will McDonald, who obviously is going to be, a huge part of their pass rush. I think that the defense is going to be great. I think Rodgers, in all likelihood, will be very good. I just worry tremendously about that offensive line. I have them going 8-9. You have them going 11-6 and win the division, so we diverge quite a bit there. So you have them at 11-6. You're fully bought into what you've seen on Hard Knocks and what you've seen this offseason from Bobby Saleh?
Fully? That might, I don't know. You did. I did forget about their offensive line. I do think they have the best defense in the division. I think obviously Rodgers is a humongous upgrade if they stay healthy, which is a key for most guys. Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. Mostly because I think the Patriots are gonna blow, and I just have no faith Tua is gonna play more than 8 games.
Makes a lot of sense. I think that's the feeling for a lot of people.
And I do just think Buffalo, like not to be super hot takey, but I think their window might have closed. Mm-hmm. Crazy with Josh Allen just having the extension, but they got blown off the field, and I know it was a playoff game against Cincinnati, but that wasn't good. And
they did get blown off the field, and we were on that, by the way. You and I both loved Cincinnati in that game. But the one thing I will say is I think they've added a little bit of dynamism on offense. I think, running the ball is obviously going to be a challenge for them. But the reason I have them over the Jets is, their weakness last year of running the ball, I think will be slightly better. I think they added a huge weapon in Dalton Kincaid, and I have worries about the Jets' offensive line. However, there is a team that I do think can challenge Buffalo, and it's Miami. I am a big believer in your boy Mike McDaniel. Their Their over-under for Miami is set at 9.5. They're plus 280 to win the division, the same exact odds as the Jets. So Vegas kind of sees them as the co-second runner in that division there. So I have them going 10-7. I have them making the playoffs. I think, obviously, this is all predicated on Tua staying healthy, which is terrifying. Apparently, he's done a lot of jujitsu this offseason to learn how to fall, to learn how to take hits. I mean, I hope it pays off for him because
he does look. I saw he put on some weight.
Definitely put on some weight. He looked really good in camp from what I saw. And I guess, I mean, this whole offseason has been focused on building up muscle and learning how to take hits and learning how to fall because it has been a challenging 2 years for him in the National Football League. 2022, they were 11th in offense, 24th in defense. They were 6th in yards on offense last year, 4th in passing, but struggled running the ball a little bit and then struggled to convert in the red zone. I think, last year, given that Tua, I believe, only finished 12 games, their stats are actually due to go up if he stays healthy. So they're obviously loaded at wide receiver. The running back room is really intriguing, if nothing else. You have the rookie Achane, who's supposed to be really good, and then Mostert and Wilson. Not much to report on the tight end side of things, but I really believe in McDaniel's ability. Yeah, they lost Gesicki. Their tight end room is barren, so that is something to watch. But I believe in McDaniel. I believe in Tua. He was actually.
Do you believe in Mike White? Because that's who's going to be playing.
I see. This is the negative of picking Miami. It's why I'm not going to add them to like one of my picks of the week. Is obviously this could be a 3-14 team if, say, Tua gets hurt in week 1 and never plays the rest of the season. But I think their ceiling with Tua is extremely high given the coaching staff there. The reason that I'm picking them 10-7 and making the playoffs isn't necessarily solely because of McDaniel. It's because I think they made one of the 5 most impactful moves of the offseason. They hired Vic Fangio to be the defensive coordinator. Jalen Ramsey is supposed to come back second half of the season. Obviously, they would have loved to have had him earlier in the year, but he got hurt in camp. I think adding Fangio to a team coached by Mike McDaniel is kind of a cheat code. You might have one of the 5 best offensive and 5 best defensive minds in the NFL on the same team. So I believe in Miami. Obviously, you're going to make the case that you really can't believe in them with a quarterback with this kind of injury history.
Yeah, I mean, I love them for everything you said. Tua looks brittle to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know he does look bigger this year. He's multiple concussions. They're not just like big, bone injuries where they heal and stuff. Like, I mean, he's got those wear and tear, like really probably never go away. I mean, his head is never going to be the same if he gets hit again. I mean, people are talking like his career would be over, like retire.
Mm-hmm.
But
there were 2 concussions last year that were just brutal to watch on TV. Just like, oh my God, I can't believe he's still playing.
Love Mike McDaniel, love Vic Fangio that hire. I mean, their defense should be much improved because of that. And, like you said, adding Ramsey. And I think they can do anything and everything on offense. It's crazy to think that Mike McDaniel, the weak spot on Miami last year on offense was running the ball because that's what he's, it's where he designed the Niners running game. Why we got so good. Yeah, I'm going 9-8. Like, I think they're gonna have a good year. I think it's like, I think the top 3 I think the top 3 in the AFCs could all make the playoffs. I don't think they will, but they could. And then, but yeah, I have them going 9-8 and finishing 3rd.
Yeah, the one worry for me outside of Tua as well is the defense collapsed from week 13 on last season. I believe they went 1-6 in their final 7 games, and that was partially Tua's injuries and partially just a complete collapse from the defense. They added Jalen Ramsey, Malik Reed, David Long, but can they stop, passing attacks of Allen and Rodgers in that division? It's real tough. But I do have them going 10-7 because I believe in that offense and I believe in Vic Fangio's ability to get the best out of that defense. So just to recap, I have Buffalo winning the division. Joey has the Jets winning the division. I have the Jets missing the playoffs, but Joey has them making the playoffs. I have Miami making the playoffs. Joey does not. New England, we are in total agreement here, though. They're over-under set at 7.5, shaded big time to the under. They're 8-1 to win the division. I have them finishing 7-10. I thought going into it after looking at their schedule, because this is the first time in ages that the Patriots are playing kind of a weak schedule. I was like, maybe I can find a way to get them to 9-8. Now 7-10 for New England. Last year they were 17th on offense, 10th on defense. And when I say that the Patriots were 17th on offense last year, that's scoring offense is what I'm listing. They were actually 27th in total offense in yardage, so they were super lucky to even be where they were last year. Obviously, fans of the Patriots will point out they got the cancer that is Matt Patricia out of the building. They got Joe Judge out of the building, and it's going to be Bill O'Brien calling the offense this year. So yes, that is a very large upgrade. They also added Juju and Mike Gesicki, but I mean, you're the number one
and
Mac
Zeke.
Jones. And Zeke Jones, we should point out, Zeke Elliott, sorry. I mean, that's just not, an impact signing at this point in Elliott's career. I don't think there's any way he's going to contribute anything other than goal line carries. But you're one of the number one, Mac Jones detractors. You think, this team is just not going anywhere with him at quarterback, even with the greatest coach of all time helping him out. What do you have the Patriots going? I'm at 7-10.
I think that's damn generous.
Wow.
I have them going 4-13.
Ooh,
you mentioned their schedule. Where are they getting these wins? Look at this. Philly, L. Miami, L. Jets, L. Dallas, L. Saints, they look pretty damn good. L. At Raiders, maybe. Probably not. Buffalo, L. Miami, maybe they split with Miami, but probably an L. Washington, I'll give them a win. Colts, I'll give them a win. Giants, playoff team. I don't see them beating them. Chargers, L. Steelers, L. Chiefs, L. Maybe Denver. But they should be a lot better, you'd think. Buffalo, L. Jets, L.
That's a lot of L's. Okay, 4-13, though. Wow.
So Colts, where are they good? You know, my hot take of all hot takes is Bill Belichick better do something. Because I think the takes are going to be flying that if he doesn't show anything post Tom Brady, he's going to go from the unspoken, or just not inarguable greatest coach of all time to I think people are going to really think he might, I'm not going to say a bum, but because it's just everything else goes. No one wants to play there. You're so miserable. The whole Patriot way, right?
Right.
The Patriot way right now looks a whole lot like the Brady way. It looks like the TB12 method.
Mm-hmm.
Without TB, what is the Patriot way? All you people.
And you made the point last year. Look at his coaching tree. McDaniels,
exactly.
Bum, Romeo Crennel, bum. Bill O'Brien, okay.
This had Charlie Weiss.
Yeah.
You think you said Patricia, Judge, all these guys.
Patricia and Matt and Joe Judge. Oh my gosh.
They go nowhere. And then these people, not only do they not succeed, these players accuse them we don't learn anything. Nothing is buttoned up at all.
The stuff that came out from all the Lions players about the Patricia tenure there, it's this guy was a clown, of the highest order. And it's, Belichick's legacy's in trouble.
No one defends him. People, obviously Sean Payton, as we know, has his opinions about Nathaniel Hackett, but Aaron Rodgers loves Nathaniel Hackett.
Mm-hmm.
At least as one person. They've had all these guys over the years, whether it's been they've had Richard Seymour, Willie McGinnis, Tyler, most of them on defense.
Mm-hmm.
They've had is Bill Belichick's right hand guy Matthew Slater, a special teams guy, who I just don't see it. He better do something.
Mm-hmm. They've spent a ton in free agency too the last 2 years. There's no reason they can't be good, had they gotten good quarterback play, I suppose. But man, looking at their roster,
I think their
right
talent
now,
is awful.
Yeah.
Other than Matthew Judon's really good.
A guy that they didn't draft. It's been really since Brady's left, they have missed on almost everything. There's a few blue chip players on there, but he's also 73 years old. Little more challenging to scout things out.
Pete Carroll's running a tight ship in Seattle. Isn't
That's
he
true.
70?
He's older than Bill Belichick.
Okay.
The oldest
Well then,
coach in the
Bill,
NFL.
what's going on, bud? And see, but that's my point though. It's everyone looks at like postseason win, like everything as a whole. Like you
Mhm.
took out Brady from Belichick. Look at Belichick. You took out Russ. Like who was it? Russ or Pete? Sure as shit looks like it was Pete.
It's a great point. One thing
And Pete kicked ass at USC. Like where did Belichick dominate other than with Brady?
I mean, he did win 2 Super Bowls as defensive coordinator of the Giants in the
That
late
doesn't
80s.
count. You got to be like that's different.
Yeah, you got to be the head
Jimmy
guy.
Garoppolo's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Okay, we're going by that knowledge.
One thing I do want to point out is the Patriots are projected to have an incredible defense. Last year they were 10th. This year I think they're going to be in the top 5 or 7. They used their first 3 picks on a corner, a D-end, and a safety. They added a new kicker and punter, both with high draft picks. I think the defense will be
This
good.
is gonna all blow up in my face, but I'm going out on a limb on this. I feel pretty good that Bill Belichick, like, you might want to retire pretty quickly before people start reconsidering your Hall of Fame vote. But that's super hot takey.
I have that written down right there. Belichick's last year, question mark. Should this be it? Or does he want to try to get another quarterback, maybe next year in the draft? Maybe if they're bad enough and they get Caleb Williams, he'll stay.
And she's like, everyone, he's not easy to work with. Like, same thing like with Pete. Like him and John Schneider seem to know what the hell they're doing together in tandem. Like just everything with the Patriots is just in shambles. Like, I don't.
Yeah, not good times in New England. I don't think a soul alive is going to pick them to come out of the AFC East as either a champion or a wild card. Brutal.
Bill O'Brien might save his job for a couple of years. I think, like you were saying. I mean, obviously, he should help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I still, I think 7-10. You thought is a little generous. You got them going 4-13. Tough times in New England. So that's the AFC East preview. We differ massively on the Jets, just a little bit on both the Bills and Dolphins, and pretty big on New England. So
you think they're going to be the seller? I think they're going to be like a Moneyball. Like there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's the Patriots.
Yeah, not a lot of wins on the schedule that you were just rattling off. So you got New England 4-13, tough times there in New England. Let's pivot over to what most people would say is the marquee division in the NFL, the NFC.
The Sunday Night Football division.
Yes, the Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico division. Obviously, the season opens with the first Sunday Night Football game being, as is tradition, Cowboys at Giants. These are the teams that kind of move the needle the most. Let's start with Philly, the defending NFC champions, defending NFC East champions. They're over under set in 11.5. They're minus 120 to win the division. So one of only, I think, 3 teams that are odds-on favorites to win the division. So they're minus 120. Last year they were 3rd on offense, 2nd on defense. Probably the unequivocal best team in the NFC last year, especially given that the quarterback stayed healthy most of the year. The offensive line stayed healthy most of the year. The only concerns that I have after looking at their roster versus, what it was last year is, the team's getting a little bit older. Mariota's the backup for Hurts, who takes a beating as a running quarterback. There's really no wide receiver depth behind, Brown and Smith. I think Swift and Penny being the running back duo is a little bit sus. Obviously, DeAndre
That's
Swift
my
was
favorite word.
Not well liked there in Detroit and was summarily shipped out. I think Rashad Penny, showed flashes in Seattle, but was never really given the job because he couldn't stay on the field. Their only weakness, I thought, on defense was rush defense last year, and I think they shored that up pretty nicely with Jalen Carter. Graham, Cox, and Slay are all at the end of their careers, so maybe that number 1 pass defense from last year will regress a little bit as those guys get older, but I am pretty confident in saying I got Philly going 12-5 and winning the division. What about you?
Yeah, I got the same. 12-5 winning the division. I think they're not going to be as good. I mean, they, like you said, pretty wire to wire year last year. I thought they had a hell of a draft to get Jalen Carter, and then they got the Georgia linebacker at the end of the first round.
Yep.
They did lose a couple guys. Obviously, the big one, Hargrave went to the Niners, and then they lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson to Detroit, who I think might be hurt already.
Yes.
But like you said, they're a bit older. But Philly, tough place to play. Like I think they I mean, Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he's going to have as good a year because, I mean, he damn near could have been the MVP, but I mean, I don't think he's going to fall off like I think some people might think. I think he's a much better passer than people want to give him credit for. I don't think he's going to be, ever like Mahomes or Burrow that way, but I think he's more than competent in that.
Heck of a leader, too.
Oh, I mean, you wouldn't, yeah. I mean, you couldn't pick a better person to, like, galvanize a team. So, yeah, big. Let's just see what they do. I don't think it really impacts this year too much, but they give them the big extension. Like you're going to start to lose even more guys down the road. But for this season, 12-5 and win the division, I think they're clearly the best team in the division.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was probably maybe the easiest pick in the entire NFC for me. Is just pencil the Eagles in to win the division. At least 11 wins. I got them at 12. It's after that where there's a little bit of a discussion. Some folks are extremely high on Dallas. I am moderately high on Dallas. I think last year with them being fourth in scoring offense and sixth in scoring defense was a little bit of a mirage. They were 12th in defensive yards allowed, 11th in offensive yards gained. So a little bit of a mirage there. Really, they didn't lose a ton outside of Kellen Moore has been replaced by Brian Schottenheimer at offensive coordinator, and ask Evan what he thinks of Brian Schottenheimer. So a little bit of a downgrade, the former Seahawks OC coming in for Kellen Moore, who I think is pretty highly regarded around the league. I think losing Dalton Schultz, they brought in Shoemaker to be their tight end. I mean, that's one of the favorite targets of Dak for years. But they did bring in Brandon Cooks, so a guy who I think has always been a very good wide receiver too around the league for many years. It's not a one anymore at this point in his career, but it's not going to be asked to do much more than kind of be the understudy there to CeeDee Lamb. Man, tough to see Dallas with this schedule rattling off more than 10 wins. I have them at 10-7. I do have them making the playoffs, but I think it's a tough road. I also think it's an extreme pressure situation for both Dak and McCarthy in a year where both guys, there's a chance they lose their jobs after this season if it just completely tailspins. So big pressure and big D this year. What do you have for Dallas?
Yeah, same thing, 10-7. I have them 10-7 and missing the playoffs.
Okay.
I think the NFC is going to be pretty top heavy. I don't know if we're going to give away all our predictions, but I think Mike McCarthy is decent. I don't think he's as, it's his clock management stuff is kind of, ridiculed, but I think he's a solid coach. I just think Dak sucks, to be just pointedly honest. I think he just, for some reason, enjoys throwing the ball to the other team a lot. And
which early in his career, he
always gets, Cowherd always compares him to your guy Kirk Cousins, and for some reason Dak is cool and doesn't get crapped on. Kirk Cousins is this middle-aged white guy who just loves to just be a nice guy and shop at Kohl's and do the quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins is infinitely better than Dak Prescott. I don't know what people need to see. The only season Dak Prescott won a playoff game, I believe, was the year that Zeke Elliott was humming with behind that offensive line. His rookie year, did they win?
2016.
No, they won last year. Okay, that last year doesn't count. They played a corpse.
Yeah, 2016. He was a rookie. Zeke was a rookie. He came in for Tony Romo after the injury, and they went 13-3, and they were the number one seed, but then got bounced by the Packers. So he hasn't been to an NFC Championship game in his career, and I believe he's only won one playoff game. He's 1-4 in the playoffs.
I think Brock Purdy's good. I mean, better than most people think. But if you're Dak Prescott making the money you're making, you can't lose that game. Dallas's defense played very well, and they're really good. But he throws 2 picks, and you just can't do it. And I think
can do it.
I think can't do it. I want winners. I think the offensive coordinator change. I don't know if it's an improvement or not. I just think just having a different guy I don't think it's going to be one of those where the new guy is going to help Dak. I think.
Oh, by the way, McCarthy is going to be calling the plays, even though Schottenheimer's to see.
Yeah, I just, and like you said, especially in Dallas, I think that if they don't get off to a good start, let's look at their schedule. They play the Giants and Jets. They can't start 0-2. They
Oh, no
cannot
way.
start 0. They have a couple easy games after that. In my opinion, they play Arizona and New England, and then they come to Levi's for Sunday Night Football. But to lose, especially you lose both to the New York teams, Giants and Jets.
That'll lead on Sports Center for all week if they lose. If they lose both
And
of
I
those
just think that
games.
their offensive line is decent, but it's another year older. And Zeke's no loss. But Tony Pollard was an absolute weapon for them last year, and now he's got
Yeah.
a major injury coming off.
Right. Yeah. Tough situation.
I think, like you said, Dalton Schultz was a humongous loss. He was Dak's favorite target by far. Security blanket in the middle of the field. Yeah, like you said, they drafted the tight end. I think the one from Michigan.
Yeah.
But who knows, Ricky? Who knows? Who knows if he's as good?
I think
I
the
like
pro
Brandon Cooks.
argument is that they have a good defense. They have maybe the best defensive player in football, and they have CeeDee Lamb. That's the pro. The con would be Mike McCarthy's in charge of the ship, and Dak Prescott's interception numbers go up and up season.
I think CeeDee Lamb is a product of the helmet, the logo. I don't think
Interesting.
CeeDee Lamb is as. I think he's good. I don't think he's as bona fide as like a 1 as some people think. I think he's really good, but I don't know.
So he's in that Amari Cooper range, not in the,
I think Amari Cooper is better.
Wow. Okay.
Not now, but like
but
Amari
at his
Cooper,
peak.
like yeah.
Okay, interesting. So we're both a little bit lower on Dallas than the general public. I would say
I have them 10-7 and missing the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I have them making the playoffs. I just don't think there's even a chance in hell that they contend with Philadelphia. I think I have them 2 games behind them. It could be much bigger than that for sure. Next up would be the Giants, whose over-under is set at a surprisingly low 7.5. They're plus 675 to win the division. Last year, they were 15th in scoring offense, 17th in scoring defense. But they were 26th in passing yardage last year. And then they gave the guy who led that 26th ranked passing attack a 3-year gigantic contract for Daniel Jones. They added Darren Waller. They added Jamison Crowder. They added Paris Campbell. I don't think that's enough to make an impact on this offense, especially with Barkley coming off of 352 touches last season. He is going to be worn down. Not looking great on offense there for the Giants. And then I was shocked they didn't fire Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator, who basically blitzes on every down and put that team in a tough spot last year. 17th in defense. They were 25th in yards allowed, 27th in rushing defense, and went 9-8, made the playoffs, won a playoff game. I was surprised that they didn't take the opportunity to maybe fire him and try to bring in Fangio for big money. So I have them going 9-8. I have them missing the playoffs. I think that's a generous 9-8. I think they have a relatively soft schedule compared to the other teams in the division. However, I just don't see any scenario which they are better than they were last year, given the money that they're now paying Jones, given Barkley's likelihood of regression, given how much he was used last year and his injury history. And then I have no trust in the defensive coordinator, Martindale. What do you have the Giants at?
Yeah, I have them going 9-8 and missing the playoffs.
Well, look at that. We're identical so far on the NFC East.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't have anything super. I pretty much think they're going to have maybe a little bit of regression to the mean from last year, and yeah, I don't think they did anything special. I think Daniel Jones is quite average.
He needs to be Vanilla Vic for them to have any chance to make the playoffs again this year. And he only engaged Vanilla Vic mode for maybe 4 or 5 weeks last year.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Nothing.
You talk about vanilla. I think that's the Giants. I just
makes sense. I mean, not a lot to say. They're a relatively boring team going into the season without much dynamic talent. I mean, adding Waller is about the only thing that I saw.
He's not going to play
a splash, but yeah, he's unlikely to play.
I mean, when he played, he was damn good. But I just when
will he be on the field? Yeah.
No,
there's a reason he was available. If he was healthy, he probably would still be in Las Vegas. All right.
I was thinking too, the Giants, Saquon and well, I know they just extended Andrew Thomas as really good left tackle, but
yeah,
I don't know, for being New York, I'm just where's the juice, like the players on the team? I don't know.
Yeah,
Just interesting.
Brian Daboll apparently has lost some weight. Maybe that'll pep him up. I don't know. He said he was getting too rotund at the end of last year. I'm like, okay, good for him.
Good for you, bud.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not
all
there
fighting
yet.
that battle.
I'm working on getting more round. I'm still working on the before picture.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the before picture is going to be quite mighty here. I'm setting myself up for a ton of success. One team left to go over in our division previews, and that's the Washington Commanders. Some ugly numbers, over under 6.5, 11-1 to win the division. I have them going 5-12. I don't care who's at quarterback, whether it's Sam Howell, whether it's Jacoby Brissett. I think this is a possible tire fire. I think 5-12 is relatively calm. I think it could go way worse than that. Early reports out of camp from the podcast I've listened to, and I read an article in The Athletic by the beat writer for Washington, who's like, hey, they got all this positivity coming after Snyder sold the team. You got one of the worst owners in sports out. You got a positive new owner in, and yet it is a total shit show at camp right now. Apparently, the players have already kind of revolted against Eric Bieniemy. They went to Ron Rivera and said, hey, this guy is draconian. He's running, a tighter than tight ship here to the point where everybody's kind of afraid of the guy. And not only did Ron Rivera not take that information and keep it in-house and try to find a solution, he just told the media that happened. Not a good situation there. One other thing I wanted to get to is there are 3 quarterbacks in camp for Washington. It's Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell, who are supposedly in a 2-man race to be the starting quarterback. And then their third quarterback is Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm, according to all reports from all the beat writers, is by far the best in camp so far. And if you're a Washington fan, that is terrifying. 5-12 for me. I think it could be way worse than that. I think this is a massively down year for Washington. Rivera on the hot seat, quarterback situation in flux. Joey, I would imagine you're in a similar vein.
I had nothing to say about the Giants. So I save it all for the Commanders. I think they're a big giant dumpster fire. And I'll have them going 4-12, and I like you said, it could be so much worse. And I think for being a guy who supposedly hung his hat on to culture, I think Ron Rivera is one of the bigger jokes of the head coaching in the NFL. What do you do? Like I thought the Bieniemy thing, there's been rumors for a while that Eric Bieniemy has not gotten a head coaching job because the reviews from his players are not good.
Right.
We mentioned Fox. Shady McCoy has been the biggest Bieniemy hater, saying this guy just he talks like he hates his players, all this stuff, whatever.
Right.
I'm going to defend him here because Washington maybe could have used a little kick in the butt, but Ron Rivera, what are you doing? Going to the media and players hate him. I hired him, but really sucks. The players hate him. I got to talk to him. We're not about whatever. And it's like you said, why did you just voluntarily just talk that into existence with the media? I remember last year. You remember last year when he played Sam Howell? I think it was
over Heineke.
Yeah, the last game I think, or was it the second? I think it was last game. And then post game, they're like, did you know with this loss, you're out of the, I think it was second to last game.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you know, now that the reporter was prefaced this question and said, now that you're officially eliminated from the postseason, who are you starting week 18? Is it going to be whoever? And he looked literally he looked like he didn't know. I don't want to be he doesn't really know. Right. But he looked like he had no idea that the loss kicked him, eliminated him.
Yeah.
And I'm just huh?
What exactly do you do here?
Your offensive guy, your defensive guy, he's not an offensive guy. He's a defensive guy, but the defense is getting shredded. And I thought he was this big culture guy, kind of why they hired him, because Snyder, everything's a whole abomination. So let's hire Ron Rivera. He's tough, hard-nosed, played in the league, all this. And I'm he's just one of those guys. They referred to Jason Garrett as the clapper because he just stood there. Well, Rivera's always got with his hat on.
Yeah. He's got his arms folded.
Yeah, like
lips
what
pursed.
are you doing? What are you doing?
I think Washington will have a decent defense this year, but I mean,
And you
all
know, like in
reports.
Dallas too, Jason Garrett, they're like, oh, we're 8-8 every year. Like they turn 8-8.
Yeah.
Well, every year, the Washington Redskin Commander football team, whatever you are, like finishes like 6-10 or 6-11, and like has no answer for anything, and somehow he still keeps his job. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's still riding off of winning the division in 2020 in the COVID
because I
year
think
with
Bieniemy partially took
7-9.
that job because he thinks he might, if he turns that offense around with whatever, whatever quarterback they choose out of those three.
Mm-hmm.
If he does anything with him, like you think, no, I could replace Ron Rivera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to think that's why he took the job. But amazing that we're not even through preseason week 1 and there's already a player revolt. You were talking about with Buffalo, where there's smoke, there's fire. There is fire already in Washington, and that dumpster fire is burning real hot. Not a good year for Washington coming up. I think the defense could be pretty good, especially if Chase Young finally lives up to his potential, but I don't think they're going to score enough points for it to matter anyway. Rough sledding ahead for Washington. So that's our NFC East preview, basically identical for Joey and I. We don't really believe in Washington. We think the Giants will miss the playoffs. We think Dallas makes it as a wild card, and Philly rules the day. Let's head over to Joey's Jack in the Bum of the Week. A lot of candidates as always. I put Trey Lance on there. We already discussed this at the beginning. Tough times for Trey. I wanted to put a guy who pissed me off last week on here. Seahawks defensive back Kobe Bryant, who in a preseason game against the Vikings had 3 helmet-to-helmet hits, only one of which was called for a penalty, but 3 just bludgeoning hits, just like
I'm happy to piggyback on any Seahawk hate here.
Oh,
especially,
yeah.
We get some free shots in here that Evan's not here.
Yeah, he can't defend his guy. Although when I texted Evan about Kobe Bryant, he said Mamba mentality. So
he just said, "What's there to be happy about? Job's not
done." Oh man, but yeah, Kobe Bryant. I mean, he absolutely lit up Jordan Addison. Was called for a penalty and then had 2 more hits in his I think he played 2 series and just tried to injure everyone he could. I mean, a vicious player, reminding me of Quandre Diggs a little bit, where it's just like. Or Cam Chancellor, even less skilled version of Cam Chancellor. He's just coming across the middle looking to just knock people's heads off. And I was like, dude, preseason week 1, really? So Kobe Bryant, you upset me a little bit. And then one other candidate I wanted to put out here is the Tui family. You haven't caught up on this much yet, but I read all about the whole Michael Orr blindside situation from yesterday, where he alleges that that the Tui family, who Sandra Bullock played the main character of that family in the movie The Blind Side, that they basically swindled him out of more than $15 million, and that his adoption never actually formally happened, that they just kind of saw him as an opportunity to, enrich themselves through, the movie, through her motivational speaking tour. Pretty shocking allegations right there. So I had to put them on the list. Beloved movie, beloved book by Michael Lewis that everybody kind of bought into. Might have all been a lie. Pretty crazy situation there. But you're going to go off the board here for the Jack in the Bum of the Week with a situation that we were talking about before the pod. Big yikes.
Just quickly on the blindside guy. I heard all of that. I read that. I thought there might have been more. I just, for the life of me, can't understand, how do we come up with the movie and no one verified if he actually was adopted? Really, it's taken that long.
15 years later.
No one was you talk about sus. No one was so you just buy this guy bet we did back hundreds of years ago. What's going on? What's going on here, guys? What sus activities going on here? Oh yeah, he never was adopted.
Wasn't that the central part of the story?
Yeah.
Why everybody loved the movie? Yeah.
Movie changes, right? If he never gets adopted.
Yeah, the movie hasn't aged great anyway.
Just a white family just picks up big black football player off the street and puts him in a home, and he gets rich and they take his money.
What a great story.
Anyways, Jack in the Bum of the Week. Jack in the Bum of the of the year. One of them could be. Big yikes. Bigger than
Allegedly.
yikes. You're right. Allegedly. Because we don't believe everything we read on the internet. But Jack and the Bum of the Week, Tampa Bay Rays, Wander Franco. Buddy, Broseph, what are we doing here? 14 years old?
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? Like, he's not the only one at blame here. The mother also needs to be at blame, because if it's true that what I read, that like she kind of like pimped out her daughter, like kind of like, oh yeah, go date him, like whatever, and like ask for money, like ask for this, and like I read, this could be totally wrong, that like they asked him for like $200,000 in like a car, and he said no, and then that's when they went public, like, oh, he's like, taking advantage of my 14-year-old daughter. But Bud, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? There's so many people out there, man. You're so rich. Like,
$181 million contract signed last offseason.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, do you babysit her? Like, what do you do?
Enormously sus. The sussest thing I saw in sports this week.
Like, I don't even really, like, for the people who don't know, like, they might think like, oh, did he hit her or something? No, something else.
Yeah. And this all came to light on TikTok on Saturday and Sunday. And I saw those TikToks early on before this made any of the, ESPN or Twitter. This guy was alleging that, he had been given this information from the mom and was like, hey, this 14-year-old is in a relationship with Wander Franco. She's from the Dominican Republic. And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this situation is going to blow up. His career is over. And I was like, okay, we see this all the time about certain athletes. I remember this happening with A's pitcher Mike Fiers like 3 or 4 years ago. And then that story ended up being completely fabricated and his career moved on. But like almost immediately, Monday morning, he was placed on the restricted list, which is kind of the Trevor Bauer situation, which means, oh my God, this guy is definitely, if he's not guilty of the crime, he's guilty of something. Like, you don't put someone on the restricted list and have that player say, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with not being paid unless there is a major problem there. So the best player, if you're on the restricted list, you do not get paid. And he voluntarily is on the restricted list.
He was getting paid. Maybe I read it wrong.
Yeah, so it's a big, gigantic, earth-shattering situation.
We'll see him in the Japanese Baseball League.
Yeah, apparently the Japanese Baseball League has no problem taking those guys.
Maybe he's one of like, our favorite Dominican baseball players, like, Miguel Tejada. Maybe she's not 14. Maybe she's like 23.
Yeah, I remember when Miguel Tejada went from 29 to 32 in a single offseason. It was crazy. Couldn't believe that. The guy
maybe it's one of those, wishful thinking. Maybe this isn't as bad. I don't know.
This is, the point I wanted to make is this
where can he find 4 more years of age for this chick?
I saw this meme that said people who didn't let age stop them: Tom Brady, LeBron James, and Wander Franco. Was like, oh my God, too much. But that's the best player on the team. That's probably one of the 8 or 9 best players in all of baseball. Looking like, that might be the end for him. What a complete dunce. Wander Franco, Jack and the Bum of the Week. Let's go over to my.
He was already having issues too. I saw, like, earlier in the season, he had been benched. Like,
attitude problems too. Yeah. His teammates do not like it when he does a showboat move and then almost screws up the play, like that one where he threw the ball up to himself and then fired it across.
I saw that. I saw that on a highlight when I was doing research in his story. I'm like, did he really do that?
And barely gets the runner, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? But yeah, brutal situation. I remember
when I played baseball, like, literally, like, just, oh my God, like, prayed, just get the out, or like, catch the ball, like, throw the ball. This dude's like, like, I'd be like, oh my God, as soon as I get it, I would just fundamentals.
Yeah, not something that he's used to. Playing with the fundamentals and playing within the confines of the rules, clearly not something that guy does in any facet of his life. So that's Wander Franco, Jack and the Bum of the Week.
Oh my God, dude! How could we forget?
Who
Jack
did
and the
we
Bum of
forget?
the Week, Jack and the Bum of the Week, Jack and the Bum of the Week, Tim Anderson.
Oh my gosh, how did we forget that?
First off, I've been saying for years that I wish baseball would go to this. Like the bench clearing, running to the pitcher, like the whole team stuff, garbage. Like it's stupid. It's not fun for anybody. Like it's not exciting as a fan. Like it's just a giant waste of time. The stupid ass bullpen people come from like 450 feet away, like so late. Like, what are you guys even doing? Right? Like, but this, like the umpire was like hockey fight. He got out of the way, like, let's go. And then they were like squared up. I'm like, oh my God. Like
you like that, and you like
if you
the
guys are gonna
Odor
go,
Bautista
like if you
one.
guys are gonna go, like fine. Like because you know what? That would stop it. That would stop it. Because I think some people like charge the pitcher all this stuff, knowing that like in comes like some guy who's probably played tight end in college, like, you know, one of those like Jeff Samardzija guys who's like ready to just deck somebody. Like you have a little backup.
Yeah.
When it's just you guys, like, all right, you want to square up? Go ahead. Good for Jose Ramirez though. I thought he barely touched him, and then I saw a clip where he was still like stumbling like off the field.
Oh, he was knocked out, like unconscious by a punch that didn't even really look like it landed that hard. Jose Ramirez, just like Rougned Odor, I mean, packing a punch, right hook, right to the chin.
And like, you know, for being a guy who baseball tried to like market as like one of the next, you know, for Tim Anderson, like he's having a horrible year. I know he had been doing better in the second half, I was reading, but horrible year. Rumors like his teammates are not even super thrilled with him. And I remember earlier in the season, my boy Josh Donaldson called him Jackie. That was hilarious. It's like I was like that could be really bad, but like, oh, Tim Anderson referring to himself as that, oh, you're gonna get it. Oh, you're gonna call yourself Jackie Robinson, like, okay, Jackie.
Well, yeah, one thing that Josh Donaldson didn't mention that I thought was actually like the point that needed to be made. I think the reason he was doing that, granted, kind of stupid and maybe a little bit racist, the reason he was doing that is Jackie Robinson won an MVP, a Rookie of the Year, 2 World Series, and was a 9-time All-Star. Tim Anderson won 1 batting title, and
that's a whole
1 All-Star team.
Stupid.
Yeah,
stupid.
You're talking about one of the greatest athletes
like Tim Anderson.
Like
you're saying, like simply just because you're a black guy, you're Jackie Robinson. Like Jackie Robinson was black, and he also was like the first one, and he also was like a damn good baseball player.
Yeah, like one of the 25 best baseball players who ever lived, and Tim Anderson's hitting like 230.
Like you hit a ball into the cornfield once, and it was cool.
Congratulations. Yeah, so Tim Anderson, co-Jack in the Bum of the Week. 2 baseball players.
To be very clear,
amazing.
There's a difference between him and Wander Franco. Tim Anderson might be might be, you know, might want to have a beer with Tim Anderson. I don't know. But Wander?
No way.
Sounds like he's gonna be at a kid's castle.
So two shortstops actually. The co-Jack in the Bums of the Week.
With 2 baseball shortstops as Bums of the Week.
Please let the NFL season start soon. We can't keep doing this shit. Let's head over to my You Like That picks of the week. Last year, we gave you 2 season win totals. This year, we're going to give you 2 NFL futures as well. I'm going to try to do 2 a week until we get to week 1, when we'll go back to our 5 picks of the week. So I'm going to list 2 picks that I like for the season-long market. I like Buffalo to win the division at plus money. They're plus 115 to win the division. I think last year they were somewhere in the minus 220 range. This year it's plus 115 solely because Rodgers has entered the division, and they believe, you know, that Miami, if Tua stays healthy, could be a threat as well. I just think it's a safe bet. I think plus 115. It's not like you're laying a bunch of money. You know, you're say you bet, you know, 100 to win 215. I love that bet. I think that's just something that's safe. If at the end of the season maybe Buffalo is you know, tied or a game back heading into the final 2 weeks, maybe you can look at some opportunities there to get out of it. But I think it's such a safe bet to just do Buffalo to win the division at plus money, especially they have a relatively soft start to the season. I think, you know, you can look at some other options as you get later in the year. If you bet that and then you're getting worried at the end of the year that they're not running away with the division, I think hold steady, be confident. Buffalo plus 115. And then a pick that you and I both love. I can't believe this is available, but it is. I actually bet it yesterday. Washington under 6.5 wins minus 120. They moved that from minus 105 to minus 120 after the whole Bieniemy saga came to light. So that'll probably move even further. I would imagine it'll go to under 6 here soon, maybe even under 5.5. But let's take Washington under 6.5 wins on the season minus 120. I don't think they get to 7 wins. 7 and 10 is a lot for a team with major quarterback issues, major internal drama. Yes, they have a good defense, but they play in a relatively tough division. I like under 6.5 minus 120. So those are your you like that picks of the week for the AFC and NFC East preview pod. Buffalo to win the division plus 115. Washington under 6.5 wins minus 120. Joey, it's time for your Feels Great Baby, your wildest take you feel best about currently. And there's someone that has entered the sports arena recently that you think is ruining the sports world in a subtle way that's starting to become bigger and bigger. What's your Feels Great Baby?
Well, I'm one of those people that I enjoy buying all the shit, all the new shit, whether it's jerseys, hats, draft hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, whatever it is. I like to splurge on that. I don't really splurge on too much other than that and food. But the company called Fanatics is ruining is making me less of a fan. And it's their name is not making me a fan. Horrible quality. I didn't realize, they're into like sports betting. They're buying like sports cards too. Like they bought out Tops too. Like they're in everything. And what was even, you talk about sus. Did you see the CEO of Fanatics, Michael Rubin's like birthday party?
Oh, was it the white party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? Like what Hollywood, LA shit is like, what creep thing is going on here? Like, oh, it's the CEO of Fanatics. Like I was thinking like this is like some Hollywood actor, like I don't know, whatever the heck they do in all these Kardashian, I don't know, whatever. I thought it was a Kardashian thing. I'm like, look at all these famous people, athletes, musicians, actors. I'm like, is it for Fanatics? We're that big already? And first and foremost, quality shit. If you're a hockey fan like I am, they are next starting, not this year, but the next year, they're going to be the jersey supplier, authentic jersey supplier of the NHL. No one's looking forward to that. Horrible business decision. If you've ever ordered anything from Fanatics, returning anything sucks. Hopefully your team doesn't wear like a color other than like red, black, or blue. Because my Sharks, you want to order a couple things from Fanatics, you'll get 3 different shades of teal. Don't put it in the wash either, because it'll fade in a couple days.
The quality of their products are awful, just atrocious.
Like, yeah, I've
found those of you watching on YouTube or checking out us on TikTok, I'm wearing a brand new Justin Jefferson throwback jersey that the Vikings are going to wear in week 1 this year. But I bought the Nike one. You could buy a Fanatics one for like $40 cheaper. That shit is a disaster. Same with
I did not I was telling you, I did not know that. I did not know NFL made or Fanatics made NFL jerseys. I thought Nike made
still
like
has the Nike
versions.
logo on it, but it's manufactured by Fanatics.
Oh,
it's
is
like the lowest price point item that you can buy in terms of jerseys on the Fanatics website. It's just like with the Sharks, with every NHL team, where you can buy the lowest level Fanatics gear, which is screen printed, and man, it's a rough look. Or you can spend $300 on the authentic Adidas one. NFL is following the same model now, where Fanatics has these really low cost items, for folks who are trying to get their team gear without breaking the bank. And man, they have just taken over sports in a way that just sucks, dude.
You're telling me you buy a Fanatics jersey that's got the Nike logo? How do you know it's the cheap?
So
like, how do you know the difference?
On the inside of the collar, like mine says like Nike, whatever it is, it's the level below Pro. So it's not tackle twill, it's not stitched. That one was like an extra $50. But this is like the Nike screen printed one. And then beneath that,
NFL.
It's not a good product, man. And you were saying, for the Sharks, the teal jersey, if it comes in a different color than, you know, the authentic jersey, that sucks. And the same thing kind of happens with Viking purple.
I would say jerseys
not
not so much. Because the NHL right now, Fanatics has the rights to, they make the replica. It's about $180 price point.
Oof.
It sucks. It doesn't look anything like it already isn't like stitched and stuff like that. It doesn't have the fight strap, all that stuff, which is like, okay, you know, you're not buying an authentic jersey, but like it looks fake. You could buy the authentic Adidas for $250, or $275, I think, after tax and stuff. And the quality is just way better. But yeah, NFL, like, I need to see this. So I really don't want a Fanatics jersey.
No. And the worry is that NHL is just the start. As you mentioned, they bought Topps. They're based in San Mateo, Fanatics, and they're, you know, anybody, if you look at their Glassdoor reviews, it's a terrible place to work. I think their business model is just acquire, raise money. There is no thought for the consumer there. And you're like, man, these guys are making the sports memorabilia market just an absolute disaster.
Okay. Nike. Okay, so they got Elite, Limited, Game, and Legend.
Yeah.
Maybe is it the Legend Game?
I think it may be, because there's one that the inside of the jersey is like a gray color versus the inside of the jersey being the team color. And that one is the Fanatics one.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Not a great product, man.
I don't like telling people how to spend their money, but if you really do only buy like one jersey, because even for me, like I don't buy jerseys. I buy I like hats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy as much jerseys as I used to, but like I do like to splurge on the on the night, like occasionally. I don't even wear them. Like I really don't. Most of my hockey jerseys are signed, and I'll eventually, I have help them framed, but no football ones. Like it's harder to meet the football players. Hockey, when we had tickets, like we could go to like a season ticket holder event, get it signed and stuff. But like I have a Kittle jersey, a Bosa jersey. Like if I ever got those signed, that'd be cool. But like I don't know when the hell I'd ever meet them. Because there's way more 49er fans than Sharks fans. So when they do like an event, like you're not the only one there, like I am sometimes. Yeah, so I'm looking at Fanatics. So they got $130 price point. Oh shit, I see it. 175, 130. I think the 175 is like the stitched. They're calling it the limited. The 130 is the.
That's the one that I have.
Yeah, that's the comfortable. They're calling it just the game jersey.
Yeah.
But then they have $100 for this shit. $100
for what is essentially. Do you remember
Legend? It says a Legend. That's what they're called. Legend.
Yeah. Do you remember going to like
this
Walmart for like
legendary?
You go to Walmart for like
you're right. It's gray and silver.
You would see like their Walmart version of an NFL jersey. That's essentially what Fanatics is selling for $100.
I'm terrible. Like I'm one of those people that like I've been around people like, oh man, like oh you're getting swindled, Joey. Like you're paying $100 whatever bucks, $200 for your jersey, man. Like I got this online, it was $30. I just want to be like, yeah, it looks like it. Like
it's fake. It's from China.
It's work. Yeah, like I don't like telling people how to spend their money. Like some people really all they can afford is like a $30 jersey. Like I good for you. Like, but don't tell me it's a real jersey. Like, don't tell me what you bought and what I bought is same. Like you just happen to get a better deal. Like, no, you bought something entirely different. Like
so that's your feels great baby. You think Fanatics needs to get out of the sports world. That's your wild take.
Well,
is that they're ruining sports.
What? Like, see, the thing that like pisses me off is like, why is there the Nike logo? Like, you didn't make it. Wow.
It's rough, dude. It's a
then
rough
what
look.
Okay, Nike.
Riveting pod tonight.
Legend. Elite is what the okay, yeah. They're game day jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Legend. Here's Nike's description. Legend jerseys keep you comfortable with dry fit technology and a standard streamlined fit.
What a
Graphics
sus name.
inspired by your team keep the jersey lightweight and breathable. This lightweight, super lightweight. It's about to rip.
Graphics inspired by your team, not official.
Wow. Okay. That sucks.
All right,
at
man.
least the NFL. See, I was so upset about it with the NHL. Like 10 years you're doing this, like 10-year contract, or then the opt-outs. Can this be like an NBA deal? Can we like quit after like a year? But I looked the NFL. I'm like, how long is Nike doing the NFL? And it was like, I think till right now, their current one's till like 2030. And then they also have like New Era making the hats. Like, okay.
Thank
Because
God.
Fanatics right now for hockey makes everything except the jerseys. And starting next year, they'll make the authentic jerseys, the replica jerseys, the hats, the shirts, the jackets, the everything. Like, okay.
Terrible company. Thanks, Fanatics. You guys stink. Let's close the pod out. What happened this week outside of football? Obviously, we got to talk about your big dad energy. Any updates on the little man? You showed me a picture earlier. He's getting pretty big. You say this guy's just.
We had another appointment. He's doing quite well. He's eating too much, honestly, probably.
Just like his pop.
Yep. No, that's cool. It's cool. I think like we're starting to get more on a schedule. He's sleeping more like throughout the night. Like we're starting to only have to get up like once a night. And I mean mostly her. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like she's usually the one being the rock star. Yeah.
You guys did see Barbie though, right? You like did actually.
Yeah, that was her. No, that was her like dying wish, basically. Like, like he wasn't born yet. He was born the next day. She's like, so she got induced, right? So we like the day was planned.
Okay.
So like she knew like the 22nd, was that's when he's gonna be born. So the 21st,
was the day the movie came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, we went to 20th. We went like Thursday night. The opening like Thursday night.
Wow.
Because we thought maybe the day would be Friday night, but it ended up being Saturday. So we went 2 days before he was born. Yeah, I went to go see Barbie. Packed crowd, like Barbie, huge brand. Like people dressing up. I'm like, wow. Like, okay, it's just like Avengers or something. Like I was excited. Like I wasn't one of those people that was like, oh, like what the hell? Why am I seeing Barbie? Like, I was like, okay, Barbie. I said it was 2 hours of my life. Am I getting back? I'm not gonna say it was that bad. Like I just wish they did more of, when they get to the real world.
Yeah.
And like Ken is like so excited. There's so many like manly shit. Like, and he's like, oh, I just want like horses and trucks and like, I'm like, I thought that was funny. I wish they were in the real world more. Yeah. I thought I liked all the actors. I mean, it was cool. But
yeah, Jamie and I went to see it. A lot of people in the crowd that were like dressed up for it. So I was like, oh, wow, this is like Harry Potter was back in the day, or like Star Wars, whatever. People would show up dressed like the characters. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was pretty good. A lot of moments that I thought were just like laugh out loud moments. The movie itself, I mean, it was fine. I didn't expect it to be like the best movie, but I think this whole Barbenheimer thing where people were doing like a double feature, I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. I want to see that in IMAX so bad, but I think it was like kind of this thing that was propped up to kind of, help the movie theaters get back after COVID to like the peak. And man, it really worked. I mean, it got everybody out to the theaters. I think Barbie's over $1 billion movie now, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. I've liked Ryan Gosling ever since he was an absolute liability at cornerback. Remember the Titans, just a scrub on the back end.
Yeah, no, I liked all the acting. I was gonna say something about what the hell was I gonna say?
Oh, you liked Simu Liu.
Oh yeah, I think he's great. No, oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say about the movie. Like it was getting like it was getting like kind of like a very like I would say pro like female or feminist like movie, right? I thought the movie when you actually watch it, like there's parts in the movie that like are very like you'd think like very like pro feminist, right? Did like it almost is like okay, it's not all you crack up to be, is it? Like running the world or whatever. Like I thought it was like pretty like I was expecting it to be um like We Hate Men
Yeah,
movie.
girls rule, boys to rule.
Like like kind of and like the way they kind of portray like Ken sometimes like okay yeah like but I get it, like there's been so many movies that like men think women just should make us sandwiches all the time. Like okay fine, Barbie, have your movie, we'll go watch it. But like it was interesting, like especially towards the end of the movie, like when Ken was like, I did just want to be like your friend, you didn't want to be my friend or whatever. And she's like, Ken was like, are you happy running the world? Like you don't seem happy. I was like, I thought that was interesting. Like, is this talking about like how the world is like a feminist movement? Like, are you guys actually happy? Like, because Kayla tells me all the time, like, she talks about all this like women going to work and all this shit and equal pay. She's like, I don't want equal pay. I want to be at home. Like, like you go to work. Like, and it's just I find it interesting because like the movie kind of was like that. Like, oh, like women like they had like CEO Barbie or lawyer Barbie or Doctor Barbie, and Kayla's like, I want to be mom Barbie. Like, screw going to work. Like, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
certainly got a lot of people's feathers ruffled about, some of the stuff in the movie. I thought it was just a funny, good movie. I didn't think it was subversive or, controversial. I thought it was just a popcorn movie. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
For me, it literally was a popcorn movie.
Oh, I ate a large by myself. That's
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite part of any movie. I don't care if I'm
I
going
gotta
to
be
see...
honest, like there hasn't been a movie I've gone for the movie in like years.
Yeah, it's all about the popcorn. Usually popcorn, I'll get one candy and then just a barrel of soda, just whatever the largest one they have is. And I finish it mostly by the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie too.
See, if we really wanted to, we could do like a whole like ranking movie snacks.
Oh my God. I mean, obviously.
See, the problem is we're cheap. Like, you and Jamie get like, you guys share a soda?
No.
Oh, see, we do. I'm like, we don't like.
Well, I mean, I guess it would make sense if it was like a 40-something ounce soda, but no.
Well, we usually get like the biggest one.
We get a large popcorn, 2 sodas, and usually 2 candies. She gets, Junior Mints, Whoppers.
Oh my
she
God.
loves
Red
Bunch
flag.
of Crunch.
Oh my God, red flag on Jamie. What is this?
She's obsessed with Bunch of Crunch. I always go with like something gummy, like
really
gummy worms or whatever. But it's the popcorn is the star of the show. Yeah, I'll go sour gummy worms. I'll go peach rings. I'll go regular gummy worms, gummy bears. But it's just something to break up the saltiness of the popcorn every few bites.
Wow. No. See, well, yeah, popcorn for me. But like, there's so many movie theaters now that got like you a pretzel guy, like you a
hot dog.
Yeah, hot dog. Like, well, the one I worked at had pizza, buffalo wings, mini cheeseburgers. No, I'm a chocolate guy. Like Snickers, Milk Dud. I love Milk Duds. Yeah. Do you put any snacks or not snacks like seasoning on the popcorn?
So when we went to Barbie, it was sick. I got the popcorn. It was huge. It was like one of those big, tubs, not a bag, like a giant tub. And I took it over the thing, and you do the butter yourself. I fucking love that because then I can just go hog wild. I'll like do butter and then shake the thing so that all of the stuff that's been buttered goes to the bottom. Then do the butter again, and then I do the salt, and it's just like, oh, it's tremendous.
I saw this online years ago, where this guy gets a straw and funnels the butter through a straw to the bottom of the. I did that. Like, it didn't really do anything. I didn't notice any different, but like I tried it. I was like, I'm gonna get butter throughout this whole thing. Are you one of those like middle-aged dads? I guess I'm one of those now, but like middle-aged dads who goes and like, you want butter, and like you come up with any ridiculous phrase you say, like, give me a heart attack. Like,
I want that thing swimming.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I want popcorn with my butter. I want a butter box.
Yeah, and a lot of salt too, or there's no point. Like movie theater popcorn is the point. That was, I think, during COVID, I missed that more than the movies by a mile. It's just getting that popcorn. It's just an unhealthy, gigantic tub.
You know, when I worked there, people would come in and just get popcorn, and like they wouldn't even go to the movie.
I believe it. I mean, that's the highlight, right?
And they wouldn't even care. They'd buy like the large, and then we give them the refill there, like in a Ziploc bag.
And then they just go home. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. One last thing before we close the pod out and we move on to next week's pod. I just wanted to talk about my golf clubs. Any opportunity I can get to talk about this shit, I'm going to take it. For the first time in 4 years, I upgraded my clubs. I traded in my old ones. My old set was TaylorMade M6. I had driver, 3-wood, hybrid, and iron set. I traded that in along with my TaylorMade wedges, and I went all Titleist. I now have like brand new fit to me Titleist stuff. Like everything is to my specs, you know, an inch longer, 2 degrees upright, you know, super heavy tour quality shafts on everything, tour grips. I mean, Vokey wedges, P200 irons, TSR2 driver and 3-wood. Every day I look at them and I'm just like, I have reached the pinnacle.
Yeah, do you
like,
sleep with them?
Oh, I mean, Jamie.
I'm
thinks
not.
I would want to.
People like laugh. People say that. I'm like, no. Like there's so many things I buy that I just stare at.
Oh, me too. Like it's like that is capitalism personified right there. Like I look at those clubs and I'm just like, God, I love America.
Oh my God. See, this is different. Like you bought like actually golf clubs. You can use them. Like that's pretty cool. Like Kayla hates this, but like my thing is the fridge. Like the garage fridge is like our drink fridge, and I will buy things to make it look like this legit fridge. Like you want like water, we got soda, got like Gatorade, like got that hot like BioSteel, like the other like hockey's version of Gatorade. We got you want beer, seltzer, like whatever. It's like it's always like super like
front and center. Yeah.
Kayla went in there and he got one of the BioSteels, and like I'm telling you, like I bought them, hadn't drinking them in like months, because I literally just like to stare at my fridge. But when I drank it, I should be ashamed at how like upset I was. Did she like? She's like, did she ruin the fridge?
She's like, that is my fridge.
Yes, she's like, I'm like, you don't ever drink those. What are you doing? She's like, I can't have them. Like, it's like, why can't I have them? I'm like, because I haven't even had them. I bought them. Like I'm like, and it has just like, she's like, well, why do you buy them if you don't drink them? I'm like, because they're for the aesthetic. Do you not get it? It's the aesthetic.
You've always wanted to own a home, and you've always wanted to have a second fridge just stocked with every drink imaginable.
Yeah, like she's like, she's like, it's a sport drink. You don't even play sports. Like you're on the couch. It's like, what do you even need this for? I'm like, it's the aesthetic.
It's for the brand.
Yeah, it's for the brand. I like, you know, you go to like a locker room, there's Gatorade, there's all this shit. They're like, you got protein, whatever. I don't have protein shakes. This is what I got. I'm not having that. But like you got whatever. Like you don't want, you want your Red Bull, your energy drinks. Like it's a fridge. Like I don't want to keep buying it, but I want the fridge to look cool. So she's like, she got so pissed. She's like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anyways.
Yeah, it is a little over the top, but I get the gist.
It's very over the top.
If you can't you can't have the man cave, you can at least have the man fridge, you know. That's your little I mean, that's me with my clubs. It's like since I first started golfing when I was like 13.
What made you go to Titleist?
So I feel like that's always been the pinnacle for me, the absolute top of the line. Like when I was a kid, I had Dunlop that was like $150 at Big Five. Then I went to like the lowest level TaylorMade irons. Then I went to like the highest level TaylorMade irons. Now I've gone to like the Titleist, what Jordan Spieth uses on the tour, you know, Scotty Cameron putter, Vokey wedges. Like I am now at the top.
I gotta know, how much did it run you?
So it's
got to be at least $5,000.
The stuff that I bought this time, which is everything except for the driving iron and putter.
I know, but the irons cost close to at least or over $2,000.
So the total bill for everything that I bought last time, which is a driver, a 3-wood, irons, and 3 wedges, was like $3,200. And then my driving iron was like $250, and my putter was like
So
$450.
everything new was only like 3,200. Only 32.
Yeah,
That's actually
but
cheaper than I thought.
and when Jamie was like, "How much did it cost?" Like $1,500. I was like, "It doesn't start with a 1 or a 2." And she was like, "What?"
She's like, "Oh, it only costed 800. That's great job, honey."
Yeah. I did trade in my old clubs, and they gave me like $900 for them, which was nice.
Yeah, your last ones were nice. I've only owned 2 sets of golf clubs. My the ones that my dad got me for Christmas years ago, like Lynx, which I don't even think they make anymore. Lynx graphite, with no 5-iron because I shattered it at the driving range. Not doing anything upset. I just swung real hard and looked at the club after I hit the ball, which I think was a pretty good shot. There was no club head. It was just a shaft. And then now I have the M2. Well, I have the first edition of the Sim, like driver and wood, but the M2 irons.
Those are great.
I've always liked TaylorMade.
Yeah. TaylorMade is based
for no reason other than like who uses them. Like I couldn't tell you like any specifications. See, that's the one thing is I do wish I got them like fitted.
That's why
like, I have no idea if they actually fit me.
See, but you play golf like what? Once every few months. Like I play like once a week minimum every week, and I'm like, why have I never gotten like actually fitted?
See, my thing is like I think I would play more if I was better, and maybe like I would be better if like I'm not saying like the club's fitting would make me better. I'm just saying like I would at least know like it's not the club. Like meaning like it's not because it's you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Especially with how fast you swing, you would need like a heavy, stiff shaft on every one of your clubs.
Like if they don't fit, like then I'm just reinforcing just bad habits, like bad swing.
That's why I like splurged this time and did the fitting, and I was like, "Look,
how much
I gotta
does the fitting
know."
cost, like just itself.
The fitting was.
Like, could I take my already owned clubs and get fitted?
The fitting was $150, but then if you bought direct from Titleist, they waived the fee. So it was like I felt like it was a good deal. And the guy is like measuring, my wrist to floor measurement. He's like, "Yeah, you're a tall dude. You got to get like, an inch added." And then he's watching my swing. He's like, "You stand fairly upright, for someone who swings as hard as you do. So we're gonna bend each of the clubs 2 degrees upright so that it's easier for you." And it's like I've played 4 rounds with my new clubs, and every time I'm like, that would have been a slice or that would have been a hook, and I'm like, oh my god, it's going straight. Like it is.
Do you also buy like the Pro V1s?
Yeah, I
Did
bought.
You buy a Titleist bag?
I have a Nike bag, and I only wear Nike clothes when I play golf. So I try to keep the Tiger stuff alive through that, and then I have a Newport 2 Scotty Cameron putter, just like Tiger. So that's an homage.
I've always been like an Adidas guy. Or especially when they started making the hockey stuff, but now that they've given up hockey, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm a free agent. I lost my fake Adidas contract that I gave myself.
You lost your sponsorship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, next time I'm up in the
Bay Area, I should support
America.
I should support America and buy Nike because Adidas is
German. Yeah. Stick with America.
You know the one Nike. I do love that's just not cool, but like everything I've ever had from them has been like super comfortable is New Balance.
Right. People say those shoes are awesome.
Because New Balance has actually gotten super big into hockey stuff. Because they make Warrior stuff, and Warrior is like huge brand in hockey now. They deck out Carlson head to toe. Mm-hmm. He was fun. He was cool. All right.
But yeah, those are the things that we love to splurge on. Joey with his fridge, me with my golf clubs. We got to have something.
And food.
And food, of course. I like a good wing stop here and there. I just ordered myself like $70 worth of sushi on Grubhub the other day. That was lovely. Love splurging on those kinds of things that bring us joy. But nope, nothing brings us as much joy as the NFL, and it's coming back. We're 3 weeks away now. We got 2 more previews coming up. We're going to do the AFC North and AFC West next week, so we can get those out of the way before we have the big pod. NFC North Viking preview, NFC West 49ers and possibly Seahawks preview with my brother if he joins. So we got that coming up in a couple weeks. We're 3 weeks away.
Do, saving lives? No one cares.
Yeah, he's big timing us yet again, but he'll be back.
Time. He's like, have your people talk to my people.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get him on the horn in a couple of weeks for that
See,
preview.
he's such a big fan of Russ. He's gonna turn into Russ. He's gonna you're his brother, and he's gonna be like, you need to talk to my manager. Like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, he's got a staff of like 12
Yeah.
people.
Like Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch. Like, I don't even have his number. They want to. They don't. I have to talk to his agent or his manager. I can't even call him.
I love that big timing. Like, have your people call my people. What a flex. All right, thanks, man. Great pod. AFC, NFC East in the books. AFC West and North coming next week. Thanks again for listening to us here on the You Like That Feels Great Baby podcast. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you then.